Welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee Allen, the host of this podcast. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be healthy. I got sick last weekend, a week ago from the weekend, 2 weekends ago, and thought I was getting better. And I made a podcast episode, thought I was doing better. And it's not like I lapsed. I just never completely got better and then it got worse. Is that relapsing? And I thought about it, and I've listened to podcasts where people say, "Oh, sorry if I sound stuffed up or stuffy, or if I have a hoarse throat or whatever." And I thought, I'm achy. Like I'm kind of a wimp when I'm sick. I don't know if you are. I don't know that I'm a wimp. I just feel very complaining because I either want to be able to do something or I just want to lay down and either give up or watch TV or take a hot bath or something. So I didn't come on the podcast. But I'm here now, and I actually got a little confused because I thought this was episode 104. I thought I recorded 103 and I didn't. But I really want to talk about 104 right now. So don't even pay attention to what number it is. I'll probably just release them in the wrong order because I really wanted it to be the fourth thing on the 10 things that I talked about on episode 100. And I know it means nothing to anybody but me. But the fourth thing was accountability. And when I looked at that, I thought, oh, I've talked about accountability a lot, ways that we can get things done by having somebody else to help us with it, or being accountable, or having a reward, or all those different ways. And I thought, well, let's find what are the best ways to be consistent with that. What are the methods of doing that? Not just the methods of like work with somebody that's body doubling or have a coach that you report to, but what are the ways that you can fine tune this to you so any of those methods will work? Because sometimes a coach could work well. That could work really well, or it couldn't. And what's the difference in those two? Or there's a reward system, you've paid into something. Have you ever done that? There used to be this thing, I don't know if there still is, but it was called Diet Bet, and my daughter and I did it, where you had to pay money. I think it was an app or something, and it was kind of in the early days of apps, so it wasn't like a very good one or anything to look at. It wasn't. It seemed very, uh, just not designed very well, but it still worked. She told me about it, and what you did is you paid money. I think it was $40 to do it for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and you set your goal of how much weight you're gonna lose, and you weighed yourself, and you had to have, I don't know, maybe a photo of the newspaper. Did we have newspapers back then? I don't know. But you had to have something that proved the date, and then at the end, you did again, and if you lost a certain percentage of your weight, you got your money back. If you didn't, your money went into a pot, and it went to everybody else. So if you paid the $40, you might get extra money because if people fail, you get some of their money split up. First time we did it, we both got money back. We did it 2 more times. We didn't get money back. So the motivation of losing money to me was going to make the difference. That the body doesn't always respond like you want it to, or maybe your habits aren't always as consistent as you want them to be. So they're not actually not habits. But anyway, so what made that work one time? What made it fail? It could be banking on the wrong thing, on a result instead of an action. And that's actually not one of my 6 things, but the progress that you make, you have to be realistic about it, and you have to make it more about what you're going to do and not what the action, not what the consequence or the result is, because the results aren't always guaranteed. So you have to weigh that out. But let's just go to the first one. So the first tool, it's not really a tool, the first guideline in making sure that accountability works is to make it something that's out there. That it's out there. You might not even be working with somebody, but you don't just keep your goal in your head, especially if you have ADHD, your brain doesn't always remember everything, even goals that you set. Have you ever set a goal and thought, yeah, I'm gonna start this on Monday? And then a few weeks later, or maybe next Thursday or something, you think, oh yeah, I was gonna start that on Monday because you kept it in your head. You didn't have a way for you to remember it besides relying on your own brain, which isn't very reliable to store information. So you can keep a promise to yourself. You can make a promise to yourself, but it's really easy to talk yourself out of it or it's easy to forget it. And if you bring somebody else into it, whether it's a specific person, it becomes more real and they can help you remember. And then you also feel some kind of obligation to do it. I've seen friends who start an Instagram account just for their weight loss journey. And they still have the regular Instagram account. And they just say, "Hey, everyone, I have 150 pounds to lose. And I decided to make an Instagram account so you can follow my progress." Part of that is to share their progress, but a big part of it is to get that accountability. Is anybody telling them you have to do this? No, but they know that people are watching and they might feel some sense of shame if they don't keep up with it. And not that we wanna induce shame on ourselves, but that fear of feeling embarrassed that you didn't do it or, "I feel like a loser," whatever it is that you put in your head. If you have other people watching you, you might be more apt to do it. Letting someone else know your goal, whether it's public, it doesn't have to be public, that can be hard. But it can be public. I set a goal last year to use my spin brush and my water pick every night for a month, and I did it. It's amazing. I had been trying to do it for years, and I just said it out loud to you, but to nobody in particular, right? It's not like I knew you or knew who might even listen to it, or maybe nobody listens to it, but I said it and I felt like I should do it. There have been other things that I've said on here, like before the end of the day, I'll finish this on my website. So when you go there, it'll be there. Sometimes I forget those things. It's awful. I feel really bad. So my apologies if you ever gone to my website. Or sometimes I go there and try to finish it and I can't for some reason, whether it's a time restraint or I just can't figure it out. It was a big mistake to switch my website from one host to another because I'm still not done with it, but I will get there. I am determined. I do need some accountability. Okay, that'll be my accountability here. What is it? September 1st by the end of the month to have that hopefully before then. But have that where I never have to apologize for that again. And like I said, it's not like you're all running there to look, but it does make me think, yeah, you say this, you need to do it. So actually, I was working on it today and I thought that's really not as hard, but it's just hard for me to wrap my head around it. I need to write down the steps for sure. That comes later. But so yeah, letting somebody else, having a person, an extra layer to either follow through, that is better than just saying it out loud. Because saying it out loud can lead to a level of accountability. But if you have a method for follow through of every day I'll go on Instagram and I'll post that, or I'll check in with you once a day and just text you and let you know what I did. I actually did some nutrition counseling with it, but not a nutritionist by any means, but I did it more as a coach. And she knew that, I'm not saying I'm a nutritionist or I'm a fitness trainer. I'm a yoga teacher and I have a lot of experience with healthy eating and different every kind of dieting that's imaginable, eating whole foods, healthy eating too. But anyway, that's what we did. I asked her, how would you like to report? Would you like to text me? Would you like me to text you? Would you like to email? Do we want to talk? How often do we want to talk? She came over once a week and we set up a plan for reporting. And if you have a plan for follow through or reporting, that would be really helpful. Just saying you're going to do it is not helpful either. If you want accountability, you have to, number two, in the guideline is to say exactly what you're going to do. And if you're not sure, get out a notebook and start writing some ideas. But if you just say, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to do better, it works better if you are clear, if you have clarity about what you're going to do, if your goal isn't vague, if it isn't just, you can have a vague ending. You could have not well, you know what I mean, a specific ending, but maybe you don't know what I mean. But you can have, an end date and a set, "I'm gonna complete it by this time," and you may not be sure how often we'll get done the first how much we'll get done the first week, but you might have something specific, like, every day I'll do 30 minutes. Every day I'll do 60 minutes of this, or I'll work on this on my computer for 2 hours. Whatever it is, you can set your goal just to be the time commitment involved, not the actual result. Because sometimes, like I said, with the weight loss, you can put in the effort and you don't know the result. But if you know, if I give it 5 hours of time, I'm going to get this project finished, then give it 5 hours, set aside 6 hours, seven, whatever you need. If it takes you a while to focus, or if you need to get up and walk around. You can kind of see as you go or look at what has worked for you in the past. Can I sit and work on something for 2 or 3 hours if I know I won't have any interruptions? If I have some caffeine, if I have a drink ready with me, can I get a little more awake and work on this? And having that clarity of exactly what you'll do and how you'll accomplish it is extremely helpful with accountability. The more specific you are, the easier it is to measure what you're doing and to stick with it. And sometimes we start with very lofty goals, like I'll do this, and especially if you have ADHD, you might be the idea person. You might keep going with your ideas and say, and I can do this and this and this and this. That's where you really have to reel it in. Some things are easier to define and stick to. Like if you're going to go for a walk, you're going to go walking every day for 30 minutes and you set that goal, you know exactly what you're going to do. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym and work out, that might be a little more open ended unless you say, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll do the treadmill or I'll do the stair step, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I'll do weight machines or I'll go to this class. And defining that will be super, super helpful. If you leave it too open ended, like I'm going to exercise, there's a good chance you don't even have a picture in your brain of what's going to happen. So, how are you going to accomplish that? Or how are you going to remember it, right? So, the third guideline is to make your progress visible. And whether you have a calendar and you check it off, I've done stickers before, or you send a text, you can see that you've done that, and you check in with that person, you post your updates, you have a tracker. There's so many ways to do it. You can do it on your computer, your phone, you could do it on a calendar, but to have a tracker with whatever goal you're trying to accomplish will help you get that done. And if it's visible, if you can see, especially if you can see, oh, 5 days in a row this week, I did it. Yay. You can feel good about yourself. And it helps you feel like you can keep going, like you can stay consistent. Number 4, think of who you're going to be accountable to. And it needs to be somebody that you enjoy working with or who you trust or you respect. You're more likely to show up if it's people that you care about or you have a relationship with. Even with fitness, if you go to a class and you have friends there and you know that they're going to be there, or you meet a friend there, that there's another reward there. There's something rewarding about that because you get to talk to that person. You get to see that person. You get to smile with that instructor. Or you go to the gym at a certain time and you know this person works there and he's so nice at the check-in. Something that helps with that. Oh, you're here again today. And you feel like, oh, they noticed me. Have you ever felt accountable to somebody who would probably be okay if you didn't show up, but I've had people do that as a yoga teacher where they will let me know when they're leaving, "I'm not gonna be there tomorrow, just wanted to let you know." They don't have to do that at all, but they feel a level of accountability. They know that I enjoy it when they're not there. Sometimes someone will come and say, "Sorry I wasn't there last Thursday, I really wanted to come." And I could say, "Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter to me." I mean, I enjoy it when I enjoy it when everyone's there for sure. But I know that it's helping them feel accountability. I've experienced it before, going to a fitness class. Oh, I'm going to miss your class next week. I love your class, and it bums me out to miss it. But just knowing that their eyes are going to light up a little bit, they're going to recognize when I'm there, makes me more likely to go and makes me feel a little worse when I don't go. It makes me feel like, oh, they thought I might be there. Maybe they didn't. But if you have a person attached to it, it can help a lot. And especially if it's somebody that you're working with. There may be, I don't know if you'll do this, but I know sometimes there's a pressure caused because of that. Sometimes we enjoy our freedom. We enjoy the ability to not make a decision, to not follow through with something, to give up on a goal because it's easier. And especially when your brain is already going a lot and you need a little bit of a break. So I found that when I have been a part of certain challenges or accountability groups, that sometimes I feel a sense of dread. A lot of it's in my own head, and I'm only saying this because often I think you're the only one that experiences this. This is just part of your ADHD. And then I go on to Reddit and I see posts all the time that I think I thought I was the only one that dealt with that aspect. I thought I was, because it's not typically on the list of ADHD symptoms. And overwhelm is one thing that's described, but just dreading little things like all the, like taking a shower or flossing your teeth or whatever it is and building it up so much. We can also do that with just an appointment. Like, I wish I didn't have that appointment today. It'd be easier not to do that. Now I'm feeling some kind of pressure. I'd rather just work on this without having to do that. And I signed up for an accountability month in February, I think, of this year with this man who I really liked. I'm trying to think of how I found out about him. I took a few courses with him online, and I really liked working with him. And I say working with him, they were recorded. But whenever I wrote him a question, he would send me a video response, and it was so fun. I thought, I can totally relate to you. And I'd send him a video response back, which was fun. And anyway, he had a month that was called Most Productive Month Ever. And it was $99, which I probably didn't really have, but I signed up for it because I thought I'm going to get a lot done here and I'm going to have the most productive month ever. And we each set a goal and reported it to him and kept in touch with him during the week and let him know how we were doing. And he had a live call once a week on Fridays. And on Mondays, we were supposed to let him know the goal for that week. And I put so much pressure on myself on Mondays. I was just thinking, I feel like a loser because, like I'm probably not accomplishing as much as I should. So I was over evaluating. And part of that is probably going back to saying exactly what you will do because I didn't have a clear idea at the beginning of the month of how much time was involved in what I needed to do, how much time I would take to work on it each week and what that would produce. And so I think I felt some kind of pressure in my head because I wasn't caught up as well as I would have liked to have been, even though I was spending the time with it. But I enjoyed working with him. But at the end, he said, because even the Friday calls, when we came together on Friday, we could ask him any question, and it was super helpful every single time. But whenever I actually shared what I was doing, I felt a sense of lacking, like I wasn't doing very well. So it could have been a lot of in my own head. But I just felt like I wasn't, as capable as I could have been or should have been in his eyes, which probably wasn't true, but it might have been true. It might have actually been really true. But at the end, he wanted our feedback, and I let him know that I kind of dreaded the connections with him, and it didn't have anything, it had way more to do with me than it had to do with him. But I recognized that unless I had a goal that I was more capable of doing, there was some kind of dread sometimes with the accountability person. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that where you come and say, I did all right, but I could have done better. And it's not really a therapy session. And actually, he was very supportive, and I participated in another similar challenge in January where I just emailed my goal on Monday, and then on Friday, I just let the person know how I was doing. And I would just be clear, I got this much done, but I was hoping to get that done. And she said, it always takes more time or things can be more involved. But all that being said, whatever person that you're connecting with, if that happens, if you start to think, oh no, I'm going back to my personal trainer, I've been working on what I was supposed to, or even it could be a physical therapy appointment, and you have physical therapy, you're not going to see that physical therapist for another 2 weeks, and you're supposed to do these exercises, and you haven't done the exercises. So if you have some sense in your accountability co-op or whatever that person is, that coaching, that training, just be clear with them and recognize that when you have an overactive mind, sometimes it's easy to get off track from what your goal is and look at those things, the first few things that I talked about, of writing it down, saying it out loud, making it as clear as possible, making it visible. If you do that when you are connecting with that person, there's a greater likelihood you'll look forward to it because you'll have some progress to share. But if you don't, know that that is natural and don't give up on the whole process. You'll still be doing better than you would have without that person helping you along. And that person's there to help you, not to shame you, not to say, how are you even not doing very well with this? They're not there to say that. They're there, they want you to succeed. They're there to help you succeed. And they may look at it more of a reflection of them if they're not helping you. So let them know where that's falling short for you, why you're not looking forward to the appointment instead of looking forward to it. It doesn't have to be a pressure thing. It doesn't have to be you have some great result to give them. You're sharing your progress. You're sharing your experience. Just like if you were coming to me and we were working on your nutrition or how you were doing with your eating habits. Not that that's what I'm doing now, but but if you were to do that, you don't have to come and say, "I did perfect." You might say that, but most of life isn't perfect, and you just need to be able to find somebody that you're comfortable with so that you can be open with them. Because the more that you hide or pretend, the less progress you'll make, and you wanna make progress, right? So, yeah. So find people that you can be honest with, that you can feel comfortable with, but know that sometimes your own head can get in the way. Could just be me, like I said, but hopefully not. Probably not. But number 5, I find that the most powerful way, the most effective way to have accountability work is to do it side by side. Some people call it body doubling. Sometimes we call it a co working session. Sometimes it's just, hey, meet you there and we'll go walking together. Doing it with somebody else, it's like they're holding your hand and they're making it so it's not as hard to keep that momentum. And And reporting back is nice. It can be helpful, but if somebody's right there with you, it's just so much better. So it could be a study buddy. Maybe you're taking a class and you have somebody to study with. Maybe it's somebody just to meet at a coffee shop and work on your computer, your business, whatever it is that you're doing. You can do that side by side, even if you're not doing the same thing. It can actually be just turning on Zoom with a friend or joining a co-working session. I'm not doing those right now, but I might in the future. And they're really nice just to see other people, whether it's their actual face and their glasses, because they're looking at their computers too, or them getting up and down and taking care of things like you are, you know that you're in this together. And setting aside that time is probably the most effective thing because you can't change your mind about what you're doing at that time. You are doing it with them. So it's having somebody not only alongside you, but it does propel you. Last thing is too, and it kind of goes back to what I said about your inner voice and stuff. But whatever accountability situation you're in, it should be supportive. And so if you have decided I'm going to go the social media route, maybe not. I just use that as an example at the beginning. But if people aren't supporting you, that would be awful if they weren't. I would think if unless you're a famous person, I think famous people get, the negative comments. But anybody who's not supportive or helpful, then maybe not involve them. The best people to work with are the ones that cheer you on, they're excited, and we find in life who's excited about what we're what we're doing and who's not, and some people aren't, some people are critical, some people are doubtful from the beginning. Have you ever shared a goal with somebody and then they've said, "That's not gonna happen"? That happened to me once. "That's not gonna happen." That really made me double down and wanna do it more. So that was powerful too. But just notice what's happening in your mind. Whoever you're working with, if they're a good fit, keep going with them. Or if that's a good method, keep going with it. I've taught yoga for years and I've taught private yoga in homes. And one of the women that I used to teach loved me coming over, but she had a lot of anxiety. And she said, "Can we do this on video instead?" Because then she didn't have to think about, "Oh, this is coming up. She's coming in my house. I need to get things ready." Her house was always spotless, and she probably paid somebody else to clean it, but I don't know that. I don't know that it looked like it. It was so clean, so beautiful. She lived at the top of a hill on a mountain in the Santa Cruz Mountains and just overlooked out to the ocean. My goodness, it was gorgeous. Sometimes we do yoga out on the deck, but I like doing yoga from home too with her. And that was actually before I did live stream videos. So I actually recorded first just audio sessions and sent them to her before I learned how to do video. And then I recorded video sessions for her. But there's always a way. So if you find in person is harder, I'd rather do Zoom or Zoom. I feel uncomfortable. I'd rather get out and go somewhere and get dressed up and have something to look forward to. Look at what is encouraging to you, what's helpful to you, doesn't cause more problems for you, and keep it positive. Know if it's feeling positive in your life. But yeah, in short, what are the little steps? Tell someone else, even if it's just one person. Be really specific. Make your goal visible. And something I didn't mention, but I've mentioned before, is do everything you can to make it possible for your goal to happen. Set up the things. If you're finding I'm spending so much time trying to find the right shoes to wear that I can't even go for my walk, or finding my earbuds, or I can't find my charger for my computer to go in this room, or whatever it is. Spend a little time setting up the system to make that possible. That's part of the planning. And then choosing the right people to work with or the right person. Work with somebody side by side whenever you can, or a group, and keep it positive in your head. Find positive people to work with. And I think that's it. I think that's it for today. Feels like this is a shorter one. It probably is. I never look at my timer. Kind of close to a half hour. But yeah, 104. We'll see if I actually release this as 104. I probably will first before 103. I have that one in my mind, but I don't know if I have time to record it before my class. Do you love it when I involve you in my decisions? If not, I apologize. Okay, before I go, this is totally off topic, but I don't know if you remember a while back, I talked about how that when I'd set a goal, and this can go along with accountability. So when I would really set a goal and stay with it, and this had to do always with not eating sugar, because sugar addiction was big for me, where if I eat a little bit, that's all I want to eat. If I didn't eat it, I didn't crave it. But I had to have it out of my system first. I had to have it out of my system for a few days to get to that point. And I'm not talking about natural sugars. I could eat apples, oranges, watermelon, whatever. It was just the candy, cookies, ice cream, all that stuff. So every time that I'd end up making it past that 3, 4, 5 days, I'd always have a sugar nightmare where I'd be dreaming and be eating something completely sugary, tons of cookies, whatever it was. And partway through realizing, like, while the food was in my mouth, like, oh no, I wasn't eating sugar. I totally forgot I forgot the combination to my locker. Did you ever have dreams about that after high school? So my forgetting thing was that I was not eating sugar. And I always thought that means it was, at least that was my interpretation of my dream. That means that it was ingrained enough in me that I wasn't eating sugar, that it was out of my habit realm, that I had a dream about it. I had to get to that point before I'd ever have that dream because I never had those dreams otherwise, never since. So fast forwarding to last night, I had a dream about having ADHD. And I mean, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I already have ADHD. But I mean, whenever you've had something happen and just think, "Ah, this is my ADHD. This is like, this would not happen. Like forgetting something, forgetting what day it is, forgetting what time it is, missing an appointment, losing something, whatever it is, getting everything organized to go somewhere and you get out to the car and you don't have your phone. Like the most simple thing is in the other room. Like you can't keep it all in your head. So those are like in real life moments where your head just knows, like, yeah, this is another moment that because I have ADHD, this happened. So my dream last night, and I woke up like very, very upset, almost like I was crying in my dream. And so I woke up that upset, but I wasn't feeling it in my body. Have you ever had a crying dream where you're, well, where you're actually doing the crying, breathing, I've done that before, but that wasn't this. But anyway, in my dream, I dreamed that I was coming back from a trip and I was flying into the San Jose airport in California, which is where, Apple, Google, all those places, Silicon Valley, south of San Francisco. And I've flown in and out of that airport many, many times over the years of living in the Santa Cruz area and a couple times since we've moved. So I dreamed that I was coming back from this trip to Europe or something, which is funny because I've been to Europe once, really. Is Greece considered Europe? I went to Greece after Israel. I don't know if that's considered Europe, but okay, twice if that is included. Sorry. I think Greece is in Europe, but it feels like it's more Mediterranean. Anyway, doesn't matter. In this dream, I was coming back from an overseas trip, had a layover in San Jose, and my husband's aunt lives in San Jose, and I love Aunt Lois. I love her so much that every time I go back to San Jose, I see her and sometimes stay the night at her house after the airport. So Lois picked us up in the dream, and I had, I think, a few of my daughters there. So we all got off the flight, got our luggage, went to Lois's house, but in the dream, it wasn't really Lois's house. And I'm sure you've, sorry if you're tuning me out right now because everyone hates to hear everyone's dreams. But the point is after spending time with her, I thought, okay, you need to get on your computer and see when your next flight is to get home. Because the idea is it was a connecting flight, and then I needed to get on another flight so we could come back here because now we live in Florida. Well, in my dream, which it didn't make sense. So wherever I was, clearly Europe to California, back to Florida, that doesn't make sense, but none of that mattered in my dream. Anyway, I look at the computer and I realize that the layover was in the San Jose airport. We were just supposed to change planes. Like you weren't supposed to get your luggage. You weren't supposed to go out of security. You certainly weren't supposed to go to someone's house, and we missed our flight. And I thought, how did I make such a stupid mistake? Like, how did my brain have a glitch to think I was supposed to leave the airport, go stay with Aunt Lois, unpack everything, have a visit, and then catch my next flight? Duh. We always just change planes. We always change planes when you have a layover or stay on the same plane and you just keep going. And we missed our flight and blah, 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 and all these plans. And I just thought, stupid ADHD. And I was so upset. And I cried and cried because I was so upset that my brain gets in the way and everyone's looking at me like, how did you not know? And I'm thinking, yeah, how did I not know? And I was just crying, crying. And I woke up and I thought, you're at home. Yes, you have ADHD, but this did not happen. But I thought that was a little monumental because it's kind of like the sugar nightmare. It's like my dreaming brain now knows that I have ADHD. And I'm curious if that happens again. But thank you for listening to my dream story. I'm curious if you've ever had a dream where you were aware that you had ADHD and something ADHD-ish happened. I would love to hear about it. And this is something I am working on my website is so you can contact me there. You can go there and contact me on the about page, I think. So go there and let me know. Or if you're on my email list or sign up for my newsletter, you can email me and let me know. But thank you so much for being here. I will be back. And if this episode comes out before 103, so be it. Talk to you later. Bye.
Open windows, broken shadows. Frozen dreams are left for tomorrow. Without a cause, no time for a pause. Rewind, I've run out of time to sing melodies and harmonies. I'm cut short, the silence of sound has yet been found, but not by me.